folks, we're going to get ready, say in the next couple of minutes, it's about 2-3 minutes. I'm going to allow some people to join in. Yeah. I'm going to start a couple of minutes. Please bear with me. Yeah. I think a number of people are with us now. This is going to be my final live broadcast for 2017. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much. I'm just waiting for a couple of people to join us so that we can start. Folks, I'll be speaking English today, and then this is deliberate for people who do not understand Yoruba language. I'm a Yoruba citizen. Our indigenous language is Yoruba language, not English. I'm not English, so I see no reason why I should be communicating to people in English. I would rather speak my indigenous language, which is Yoruba. I'm very proud of it. Aside that, I flow naturally speaking Yoruba language, but for today's lecture, I will speak English for the benefit of non-Yoruba who will be joining us later tonight. Tonight, I will be speaking on Yoruba land as the economic backbone of Nigeria. I have always made this claim since 2012, saying that Yoruba produce 49% of the income of Nigeria, and we produce 80% of the gross domestic product of Nigeria. What gross domestic product simply means is that the total money value of all goods and services produced in a country, which is the size of the economy. This is what I've been saying since 2012, until this year when the Minister for Finance, Mrs. Kemi, came out and said that Lagos State alone produces 55% of the VAT of Nigeria, which is actually 60%. And then she also came out and said that Lagos State alone produced 40% of the gross domestic product of Nigeria. Ogun State produced 20% of the gross domestic product of Nigeria. So when you combine Lagos Hi guys, thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm speaking about the new change that we have introduced to the Yoruba public. You will recollect it was YYF that tried as much as possible to explain to the general public in Yoruba land that there's nothing like true federalism. Federalism is federalism. But we just drop names of as things interest us. Today we want to introduce a new concept. This is the concept that fits in perfectly into our desire and our demand since 1967. Many of us, the majority of the population of the people in Yoruba land, there's a recent research that says more than 92% of the current population of Yoruba were never born in 1960. So we were never enslaved for once. We did not experience slavery. We did not experience colonialism. So we have no justification to continue to hold on to slavery and colonialism as the reason why Yoruba land is poor and miserable. Aside the fact that the majority of slavery and colonialism, many of us never experienced parliamentary system of government based on regional government. So if you see any group of people or movements or individuals clamoring for a return to regional government, this has been the demand of the Yoruba nation since 1967. It was Awolowo as the leader of thought in 1967 who spoke eloquently on behalf of the Yoruba nation to demand for four major things, among others. The paramount demand of the Yoruba as far back as 1967 was a return to the parliamentary system of government based on regional government. Since 1967, the Yoruba nation, we've been demanding for this. It was during the June 12th struggle between 1993 and 1998 that the concept of restructuring was introduced into our body politics across Yoruba land and by extension Nigeria. But the appropriate word that we have to have used then, and before saying that, in addition to what I've said about the population of the current Yoruba who never experienced slavery or colonialism because we were not born in 1960, the majority of us never experienced regional government too because we were not born in 1966. And many of us never voted in 1993 election because we were not 18. I did not vote in 1993 because I wasn't 18 years old. So you see, our generation that is speaking up today, we've never physically participated in a number of things that has gone wrong in the past. But our generation has been born to change the course of history. That is the only reason why we were born. And our generation will eventually take Yoruba land out of Nigeria. But since 1993, that the election of the first elected Yoruba citizen, a full-blooded Yoruba citizen, Abiola, he was the first Yoruba to be so elected president of Nigeria. The Igbo and the Hausa Fulani did not only annul that election, they imprisoned him, they killed his wife, and they eventually assassinated this man. But we've been using the word restructuring to define what we desire as a people. But we at YYF as a movement realize that that is completely wrong. Restructuring is not the appropriate word for us to use. What we want The appropriate word of our desire is devolution. Devolution simply means that the central government, in a democratic system, they don't even call it the federal government. It ought to be the central government. Devolve political power to the regions. That is what we have always been clamoring for. So restructuring is not appropriate. What is appropriate is devolution. So what we want as Yoruba people since 1967 is for the central government that was appropriated by the Igbo in 1966 and centralize all political power at the center. What we want as Yoruba people is for the central government, which we erroneously call the federal government, to now devolve this power back to the regions. That is what devolution is. In the United Kingdom and in the United States of America, it is devolution of power. When the United States of American citizens were writing their constitution, the federal government of the United States devolved political power to the state. Each of the states in America, they are like a nation. Each state controls its own police. Each state controls its own military. Each state controls its own mineral and natural resources. Each state controls its own courts, up to the Supreme Court. Each state is responsible for its own education. Each state is responsible for a number of things. These powers have been devolved from the federal government of the United States to the state government of the United States. It is the same thing in the United Kingdom. They call it devolution. The power has been devolved from the central government in London to the regional government across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Regionalism in Yoruba now currently and since 1967, today it has come back to prominence because the political, the economy, the cultural, and the social space of the Yoruba nation in contemporary Nigeria comes under a new meaning. There's a lot of growing Yoruba nationalism of both the liberals and the conservative demanding for a return to regional government, demanding for Oduduwa Republic. So folks, I would like to encourage you, as we say in YYF, we introduce the concept of self-preservation, we introduce the concept of Think Yoruba First, we distinguish between the two political ideologies in Yoruba land, the PDP Yoruba, who are liberals, completely irresponsible set of political leaders, and the APC Yoruba, who are conservative. We introduce a lot of political ideas and ideals to shape your mind so that we can be proud as Yoruba people and control our respective space. We will be talking about devolution. We are introducing this concept to you so that you appreciate what is appropriate for us to say at this point in time. As the president of the Young Yoruba for Freedom, I have written something I could call a white paper for the incoming government of Asiwaju Tinubu. I wrote this report before I was arrested last year, but it took me so many months to be able to crack my brain back to this same report because everything has been taken away from my home and the police have not returned back my documents, which are my intellectual properties. But I've been working, even though under extreme tension and pressure, to reproduce this, what I call white paper. And it is on devolution. The paper will be released via Amazon so that people can purchase this document. We at YYF, we've always been giving things out for free of charge. But unfortunately, trial that is pending for next year, hopefully. So we need to fund this out for people for free of charge. Unfortunately, we have to sell it. That is the decision we have come to. We gave you the Constitution of Western Nigeria for free, even though we spent so much money to procure it. There's no university in Yoruba land that has a copy until we publish one. This is the copy of the Constitution of Western Nigeria. Very interesting. I've printed it and then I'm going to speak on that. So we apologize in advance for the fact that you will have to purchase this new document that we will be releasing in due course. We're still working on it because the police refused to give me the copy. They were like, they don't want it to go to the public, but I have to publish it in public because it is my intellectual property, it is my right. I did the research in conjunction with other members of the YYF, and then we've done this for a long time. We just do not push it out as a dare because it was seized by the police. They consider it too important for the public to see. But we are going to release it in due course through the Amazon, so that you should look out for it when it is eventually published. I can't give a definite time. So I want to tell you that we should stop using restructuring to say that is what we are demanding for. We are actually demanding for devolution. Devolution is simply about the transfer of power by a central government, which we erroneously call the federal government, to the regional administration. Like I said to you guys, devolution is not new. It was how we started Nigeria. If you look at all the constitution we've had in Nigeria, devolution of power to the region has always been the basis. The Igbo destroyed this beautiful political system. The Fulani took advantage of the destruction of the Igbo and perpetrated themselves in power. Now, from 2023, the Yoruba will bring back this devolution power. So in the white paper that we have written, we divided the country, Nigeria, into two groups, so to say. The legislature and the government. This is something that the Yoruba liberals, Heritage TV, Oduduwa TV, Radio, David Hamilton, Citizen AY, Olayomi Koiki, Mayegun, Diary, and other Yoruba liberals shouting about Oduduwa, but they have no clue about what we say. They are not that smart or intelligent. They are liberal. They are just taking advantage of you guys. They don't know anything about government. They have no clue about how to make a nation great. So they're just fooling you. So we have divided the Nigerian state into two, the legislature and the government. The National Assembly is number one, which comes under the legislature. The role of the government in tandem with the National Assembly of Nigeria is the federal government of Nigeria, which will be called the central government of Nigeria. So the National Assembly and the central government of Nigeria are one. So the National Assembly is the legislature, the government is the central government of Nigeria. But for convenience's sake, let us continue to adopt the name federal government. Number two is the Yoruba Parliament. And I want you to take note of the word parliament, and I will use assembly for others. We have divided Nigeria into 10 regions. Like I always said to you, Anthony Enauro and Professor Wole Soyinka under Pronaco,
did a beautiful research and divided Nigeria into 15 regions. But because we've looking at the geographical spread of the ethnic groups in Nigeria, a lot of them are minority. There are not so many, like Urobo is just 20 million, 2 million people rather. Edo is just 5 million people. They are very, very minutest. They are minority. And then we can't just give each and every one of them their own region. So we have divided Nigeria into 10 regions, which is going to be part of our white paper that we will help President Tinubu to use in this devolution of power to the regions. So the second legislature is the Yoruba Parliament. And the government that will work with that parliament is the Yoruba regional government. The third legislature is the Hausa Parliament. And the government that will work with that parliament is the Hausa government. The fourth legislature is the Igbo Parliament. And the government that will work with that is the Igbo regional government. Now, I said you should take note of the word parliament. I've used the word parliament for Yoruba, for Hausa, and for Igbo because these two ethnic nations made up more than 72% of the total population of Nigeria. They can stand as an independent nation on their own. The others, we are not going to use parliament for them. This is part of government. A number of liberals don't understand. They might be saying, why do you say Yoruba parliament? Why do you use assembly for others? It is because of their population. Population is very important in this scheme of things in politics. If you look at California, state in America, it has more electors than many states. It has about 55 electoral college votes, 55. But there are some states in America that has only 2 electoral college votes. Why is that? It is the population. The Yoruba, the Hausa, and the Igbo combined together, they are more than 70% of the total population of Nigeria. They will have parliament. Their parliament will be so powerful enough to serve as an independent nation. But the others will go by the name assembly. So number 5 legislature will be the National Assembly of Kanuri. It will work with the Kanuri regional government. Number 6 legislature is the National Assembly of Ijaw. It will work with the Ijaw regional government. And I know a lot of my friends who are Ijaw, they will be saying, why do you use National Assembly for us? You are 14 million people. Yoruba is 60 million. Hausa Fulani, they are 49 million. And they are about 40 million. So Ijaw, you are 14 million. We have the accurate record of the population of Nigeria, not the fake one being supplied by the National Population Census. We got our finding from an institution in Germany. I have refused to disclose this institution in Germany because when we disclose the CIA World Fact Book, the federal government of Nigeria, through the National Population Commission, went to the CIA World Fact Book and changed the population there. Ridiculous people, stupid people. So now we have the fact. We will give this fact to the appropriate authority when time demands. So number 6 legislature is the Edo Urobo National Assembly. This National Assembly will work with the Edo Urobo regional government. And then some people might say that, oh, these people they're serious. We are working. We believe in what we do. We have passion for what we do. We want to change the course of history and we're determined. We want to rule Yoruba land and make it great. And we prepare for all of this. How many Yoruba liberals sitting on social media has this idea that we're talking about? And I'm still going to talk about devolved power and reserved power. Do you want to say to me that this man who calls himself Frank Bello Does he have this idea of what we're talking about? He doesn't have a clue. Do you want to say to me that Mayegun Diary, who speaks rubbish almost all the time, he doesn't have a clue about what we're talking about? We conservative are extremely precocious minds. We're so brilliant. We know what to do at the appropriate time. We know how to make a country great. We know what is necessary. So all of these liberals sitting around abusing Tinubu, they lack ordinary common sense. They have got no clue. You see a lot of things now. But I don't want you to forget something. We are no longer using restructuring. We're using devolution. And then you will see why. Number 8 legislature will be the Efik Ibibio Assembly. The Efik Ibibio Assembly will work with the Efik Ibibio regional government. Number 9 legislature is the National Assembly for Western Middle Belt. The National Assembly for Western Middle Belt will work with Western Middle Belt regional government. Western Middle Belt will be the Bariba, the Busawa, and the Nupe people. Number 10 legislature will be the National Assembly for Central Middle Belt. The Middle Belt we have today, which is 1, shall be divided into 3 regions. So the Central Middle Belt, where you have Igala, Ibira, Idoma, Birom, and the rest. So the National Assembly for Central Middle Belt will work with the Central Middle Belt regional government. And finally, number 11 legislature is the National Assembly for Eastern Middle Belt. They will work with the Eastern Middle Belt regional government. So that is what we are proposing to Asiwaju Tinubu. And many of you will discount what we're saying. Believe me, we have the state of mind. We want Nigeria to be divided into 10 federating units. Yoruba region, Hausa region, Igbo region, Kanuri region, Ijaw region, Edo Urobo region, Efik Ibibio region, Western Middle Belt, Central Middle Belt, and Eastern Middle Belt. These are the 10 regions that we will be proposing to Mr. Tinubu to create. And each of these regions will have their own parliament. But the first 3, Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo, will have a parliament. A parliament is for country. They are independent nation on their own, and they have to be recognized. The others will have assembly. And a lot of people might not understand it. You allow constitutional lawyer to explain to you subsequently if in future President Tinubu actually establish this regional government. Folks, you will see from the white paper which we have written, the white paper is actually government document, but we have envisioned the presidency of Asiwaju Tinubu. So we want to work as if we are government in waiting, and that is how we're working. We're actually government in waiting, because in 2023 Yoruba will take that government. Because the Caucasian are the majority in America, they rule over African America. Yoruba will rule over Igbo and Hausa Fulani because we're a majority and we are also the economic backbone of Nigeria. The English, they rule over the Scottish and others because they are the majority and the economic backbone of the United Kingdom. So 2023, we will rule. So we are actually government in waiting. And as government in waiting, we must envision the kind of Nigeria we want for everyone. But look, there is a professor in anything that we propose, in whatever the government of the APC will do from 2023, which is under Tinubu. But one thing that is certain, if the Igbo and Hausa Fulani continue to disregard the need for devolution of power to the region, then we'll break up Nigeria peacefully. They cannot hold people to ransom. So from the white paper that we are going to produce to help the government or administration of Mr. Tinubu, you will see what is devolution there. We will explain why do we have devolution. We are going to explain devolution across Nigeria, talking about each of the regions to be established as federating unit that we have proposed from these 11 regions and legislature, as well as government that I've mentioned earlier. We will then talk about how devolution works. And there we will focus our attention on devolved and reserved powers. I will then, just for this political speech, I'm going to talk on devolved and reserved power. Guys, what this means is very simple. Devolved power is what the responsibility of the regional government will be. Reserved power is the power of the federal government, which is actually central government. Currently, that presidency of Nigeria is the most powerful. And I used to use this word that my mother doesn't like. I keep saying that the president of Nigeria, under the unitary system that we're practicing, is more powerful than Jesus Christ. My mom said, don't use Jesus Christ as an example. I said to my mom, it's actually the truth. Buhari can kill anybody now and nothing will happen to that guy. President Trump cannot try that. Prime Minister Boris Johnson cannot try that. Buhari can decide to sell Apapa Wharf to China today. Nobody can stop him. And this is something that the Yoruba built in 1913 before Nigeria was created in 1914. This is something that Awolowo spent 50 million pounds building reconstruction over that port. Today, it is Hausa Fulani that are predominantly working there. And all the revenue made from that goes to Abuja. Because we run unitary system. So when I said to my mom that the president of Nigeria is more powerful than Jesus Christ, my mom said, no, don't say that. That is actually the truth. Buhari can pick up a man from nowhere, and made him a multi-billionaire tomorrow. It would never be queried because we have a horrible political system. He won't be able to do that if Nigeria is a proper federation. Buhari will not be able to do that if Nigeria is practicing parliamentary system of government that is based on regional government. Buhari will pick me up today if I come to Nigeria and kill me if he so desire. Nothing will happen. The system is horrible. And if you don't stop that, it is only Yoruba people and the Niger Delta that are paying for this unitary system. The Igbo and the Hausa Fulani are the greatest beneficiary of this fraud of a unitary system. They are the only people that are enjoying Nigeria as presently constituted under unitary system. So let us look at devolved powers, folks. You get this thing now. We say we want power to be devolved from the central government to the regional government. What are these powers that we are calling for? This is what all of these people that are shouting on Facebook, all these stupid liberals that are abusing Tinubu, they have no clue. They don't even know what is devolved power. They don't even have an idea what is reserved power. It is the same thing in America. It is the same thing in the United Kingdom. So when we say devolved power, what are the powers that will be taken away from the federal government that will be given to the regional government? Number one is health and social services. So we are not going to have the same health care across Nigeria. Currently, it is the federal government that is in control of health and social services. We'll take that power from the federal government and give it to the region. So Igbo will run their own health care. Hausa will run their own health care independent of the federal government. Yoruba will run their own health care independent of the federal government. And if that happens, you know Yoruba will have the best health care. If an Igbo is speaking, they should also say that it is Igbo who will have the best health care in Nigeria. So we need to devolve that power. Federal government can no longer control health care and social services. It has to be given to the regional government. So Yoruba will fund their own hospitals, their own health care. Igbo will look for money for their own health care. Hausa Fulani will fund their own health care themselves. So federal government will no longer control that. That is devolved power to the region. Number two is education, training, and skill. We will no longer have the same educational curriculum. In Yoruba land, I can tell you for a fact, nobody's going to be writing horrible jams. I wrote jam almost twice, more than twice, before I could go to university. Fulani don't write jams. They say it is quota system. They use jam to destroy our future. So you have to write jam, fail, write again, fail. So if we devolve education, training, and skill to the regions, we take education away from the federal government and give it to the region, the Yoruba will control our education. Our children will not need jam before they can go to university. We might not even be writing WAEC any longer. We might have a change of system. Maybe we might tend to write the kind of exam they write in America for their high school graduation. I know WAEC is, I think, West African Examination Council. Which of the one do they do in South Africa? Which exam do they write for their secondary school graduate in East Africa? We need to know. We have to pick the best. So we are no longer going to have the same educational system. That is when we devolve education, training, and skill to the regions. So the Igbo might choose to say, okay, all of their graduate, all of their secondary school student or primary school, you don't need to write a common entrance for your primary school. After your primary school, you just move down to secondary school. After your secondary school, you just move straight. So you understand? So we will have to devolve education, training, and skill to the region. This comes under devolution of power. These are power. Because I said education, training, and skill, these are political power. It's essential that you control these things, not the federal government. I'm still going to talk about reserve power, just hold on. Number 3, power that will be devolved is local government. The creation of local government will no longer be the responsibility of the central government. And I say for convenience's sake, we call it federal government. So that power to create local government will now be under the regional government, which has been devolved. We're talking about devolution, not restructuring. Restructuring is just you breaking up everything and starting all over again. We have already had devolution of power since Nigeria was created. Go and look at the constitution. It's nothing new. Igbo just destroyed it, and Hausa Fulani took advantage of it. And for more than 50 years, they have held on to this unitary system with the support of the irresponsible, self-serving career politicians in England, who are the people giving Fulani weapon to suppress and subjugate the Yoruba people. And I'm glad that the APC Yoruba, they are talking to America. Because if we don't have the support of the United States of America, believe you me, you cannot even get the presidency in 2023. Yoruba, you won't get it. Because you can't fight for your freedom and liberty without allies. So it is good that the APC Yoruba, they've listened to YYF, they are talking to America, US government. They are bringing in American businesses. We don't need Lebanese. They are a Muslim country. They will be supporting Hausa Fulani. We need Israeli companies to come into Yoruba land. We need America to come into Yoruba land and do business and help us to get our freedom. It is not free, you know, there's nothing in life that is free. That I could talk today and then I didn't crack, even though I have to go through a lot. It is because there are people who are supporting me, who are our donors, and I'm very grateful to them. So you see, you need allies. If you don't have allies, you will never be successful. So local government power will be devolved to the region. So the federal government will no longer create local government. This is what we want, Yoruba people, since 1967. Number 4, power that will be devolved is housing. Federal government will no longer be responsible for providing housing for people. When you have Federal Mortgage Bank, they take all money from Yoruba and put it in their Federal Mortgage Bank and use this money to build houses for Hausa Fulani people. No, that power will be taken away from the federal government and given to the region. So the Igbo will have to look for money to provide housing for their own citizens. The Yoruba will look for money to build houses for their own people. Hausa Fulani too will have the power to build houses for their people. Housing will no longer come under the power of the federal government. It will be regional government that will have this power. Justice and police is number 5. Look at these things that I'm talking about. Do you think somebody will just sit down and Jesus Christ is putting it in my head? No. We have to research how it is done in the United States of America, in the UK, in Germany, in China, and elsewhere. This is what we have to do. There is this former special advisor on media, Yaradua, something Olani. The guy was writing shit in his report. He said that if you give Denmark, if you give them South, they will turn it into a wonderful place. If you give Dubai, Middle Belt, they will turn it into a great nation. If you give China if you give Igbo land to the Chinese, they will make it great. He said, why? He said it is leadership problem Nigeria is having. He's idiot. He spoke about Denmark. Denmark is a monocultural country. South is not a monocultural country. He spoke about Dubai. Dubai is a region inside UAE. He said if you give Dubai Middle Belt, it will become a great place. Middle Belt is full of different ethnic groups. It's not a monocultural region. It's a multicultural region. He said if you give the Chinese Igbo land, they would make it great. The Chinese are monocultural. The Han ethnic group is more than 92% of the population of the entire China. Nigeria is a multi-ethnic nation, multicultural nation. You don't use unitary system. It will never work. Igbo don't have electricity. It is the same thing that is happening in Yoruba land. We don't have electricity too. And Hausa Fulani too, they don't have electricity because you use unitary system. Boko Haram is killing people in Kanuri land. We are getting scared in Yoruba land because it is a unitary system. Because you have one police, one military. That's why you are scared. That's why people are moving from Kanuri land into Yoruba land because you run unitary system. If you run a regional government, Yoruba, you have control over your own police, over your own military. Kanuri people will not get into Yoruba land without permits. You see Igbo, they don't go to school, they lack human capital, they go into crime, zoom, they move into Yoruba land and kill Yoruba graduates. Because we run unitary system. So Sheikh Wadeni, that is his name, was the former senior special advisor of media for Yaradua. He writes a lot of shit things anyway. I think he's the one that owns Cable. Cable does not do fake news, but it is pro-Fulani. I do read Cable newspaper, Cable online newspaper. But Sheikh Wadeni was writing horrible things. Nigeria is a multicultural country. It's not a monocultural country. It is one of the reasons that it is not a great place to live. How can people be facing insecurity in Kanuri land and we are facing the impact in Yoruba land? Because it is unitary system. We have the same police. We have the same military. Devolve the power. That's number 6 or 5 that I'm talking about. Justice and policing. Look, justice and policing, folks, you will see the beauty in this constitution of Western Nigeria. Beautiful, which I'm going to speak about. We used to control all our courts except Supreme Court. Customary court in Yoruba land is controlled by Yoruba judges. It's only Yoruba judges as you see there. Magistrate court in Yoruba land controlled by Yoruba only. High court in Yoruba land controlled by Yoruba judges too. Appeal court in Yoruba land controlled. You will see it in our constitution. The only thing we do not, the only court we have no control over is the Supreme Court, which is like the constitutional court. It is the same thing in America. Each state controls its own court, up to Supreme Court, except the one that is the constitutional court. Devolve power that we're talking about, number 5, is that we will devolve justice and policing. So Yoruba will be able to control their own police. Yoruba will be able to control their own courts. Up to the Supreme Court. We will just have one court at Abuja, which is going to be called the Constitutional Court. The judges there will only interpret the constitution of the federal government. Devolution is the appropriate word to use, folks. Don't use restructuring anymore. We want devolution of power to the regions. Charity law will be devolved. Anybody that wants to establish charity, I'm talking about religion. You know, religion comes under charity. Because anybody starting church, establishing church or mosque today, it is for the salvation of people's soul, charity. So if you want to register your churches, you are not going to go to Abuja. If you want to register your Islamic organization, you are no longer going to go to Abuja. The power will be devolved to the regions, and Yoruba will make money from it. Because a lot of people want to set up so many churches, will start taxing them. Unless we can check their account to see that they are spending money into charity. So charity law will be devolved. Energy will be devolved too. So federal government will no longer concern itself with generation of electricity. No, that power will come under devolved power to the regions. So federal government will no longer control energy generation. Stamp duty, land tax, income tax, VAT, and all the taxes will be devolved. There was a time I saw the argument of President Trump with the governor of California. President Trump was accusing the governor of California that the governor of California has not remitted the percentage of the federal government of America's share of the income tax collected by the California governor. You see, taxes devolve in America. But you see the ridiculous things we do in Yoruba land and in Nigeria as it were. Companies will set up businesses in Yoruba land. They will pay their income tax, and you take this income tax, you move it to Abuja, and you now distribute this money according to number of states, number of local government, according to population, according to land mass, according to density, according to senatorial district. Does that make common sense? It doesn't. All of these things that I'm saying, believe you me, all these guys on Facebook, Olayomi Koiki, they just don't know. They don't have a clue. Citizen AY, they have no clue. Oduduwa TV radio, they have no clue. Look at the caliber of these people talking shit. Heritage TV, they don't know. They just talk shit. We want to do it. Tinubu is our problem. Sit them down. Let them bring their best mind to come and debate. As a matter of fact, they've introduced me to their stupid debate. I don't want to be seen with Libra. I turned down a lot of their debate. They just want to use my picture. Oh, are they in grandson? That's what they want to do. You're not brilliant. Stop following them. So we're going to devolve taxes, income tax and other tax will be devolved to the regions. So it is the regions that will collect these taxes, and the region will pay an agreed percentage to the federal government. That is how it is done in UK. That's how it is done in America. You know that it is not President Trump that is controlling the crude oil in California, the crude oil in Texas, the crude oil in Alaska. It is not President Trump, it is the governor of these three states that I've mentioned. They are the people that are controlling the crude oil. But the amount of money generated, the federal government would take an agreed percentage of the money, maybe 10% or less. But in Nigeria, it is the federal government that is controlling the crude oil in Yoruba land. It is the federal government that is controlling the crude oil in Ijaw land. It doesn't make sense. That's why the Igbo and the Fulani say they want zoning. We have been saying to people, why does not support zoning? We are the first person that have been against zoning. We don't support zoning. And I'm going to speak on that because they are circulating rumor that we are practicing zoning in Nigeria. We don't practice zoning in Nigeria. During 1999 election, there are some Hausa Fulani that contested the PDP primaries with Obasanjo. There were some Hausa Fulani that contested the ANPP primaries, presidential primary with Olufalaye. So there's no zoning in Nigeria. Don't let anybody fool you. We take the presidency in 2023, we are not zoning anything. They don't zone presidency in America between black and white. They don't zone the premiership in UK between English and Scottish. No, majority rule. And the economic backbone of every nation always rule over others. It is Yoruba that is sustaining Nigeria. We are going to rule and we're the majority too. But minority Fulani are ruling. I don't believe in zoning. YYF does not believe in zoning. We don't believe in zoning. Why is it that President Trump is going to contest the election in November with this Joe Biden? Both of them are white. How come the African American are not saying, oh, no, we must have one black person there? Oh, they said, oh, the white people have been ruling since 1776. It must be the turn of the black people. Nobody does that shit thing. That's because of the unitary system. That is why the Igbo and the Fulani are always advocating for zoning. Don't mind what this stupid Mama Daura is saying, that it doesn't support zoning. It's part of their gimmick. They have always wanted zoning. We Yoruba don't want zoning. We want to rule. And there is a proviso. If you don't want us to rule, we break up the country and everybody goes their way. It's very simple. We don't want to compete with any one of you. So we will issue the white paper on devolution. And Tinubu will look at that white paper and work on it. Because we push ideas and ideals. We tell people we want Oduduwa Republic, but there are ways to get Oduduwa Republic, not what the stupid liberals are saying. Just ranting, saying that they want to protest with Fulani that is going to kill you with guns. Taking Yoruba to UNPO, minority group, when we are majority. Antagonizing Tinubu rather than for Yoruba to take the presidency of Nigeria. First time in our lifetime. Obasanjo is not a Yoruba man. Yoruba has never been president of Nigeria. The first Yoruba to have won the election was MK Abiola. Now it's going to be Tinubu in 2023. That's why we say you cannot protest in a multicultural country where minority is the president of Nigeria without weapon. And our choice of weapon is chemical and biological weapon because Fulani have appropriated our seaports. So folks, number 9, devolved power. The power that will be devolved to the region is employment law. Employment law will be given to the regions. And one thing that we are going to do as Yoruba, believe you me, if you graduate outside Yoruba University, you will do 1 year course in our university before you qualify to work. You will not be able to work. It will be part of our employment law because we would devolve employment law to the regions. And you cannot, as a non-Yoruba, you cannot be employed in certain jobs unless there is no Yoruba person that has the brain power to do that job. It will be part of our employment law. We need to protect our own. Yoruba who are living abroad. We're not first-class citizens in the countries that we live, in the respective countries that we are living in. We do the jobs that their citizens don't want to do. English don't want to wash toilet in England, so Yoruba, we have to do that job. English don't want to clean their hospitals. Yoruba, we have to do their job. English people don't want to do care work. Yoruba, we have to do that job. English people don't want to do car park attendant. Yoruba, we have to do that job. We do the job that the English don't want to do. We go to France, we do the job that the French citizens don't like. Dirty jobs. So when we devolve employment law into region, we will put in place certain measures to protect the interests of Yoruba citizens on all jobs. But you think the Igbo want this? They don't want this. It's very easy to run Nigeria when you devolve political power to the regions. But Igbo are criminals. Fulani are a minority and horrible set of people. And it is the English that are supporting Fulani. If you leave Fulani alone with no allies and let them go to war with Yoruba, Fulani cannot produce ordinary hand grenade bomb. Fulani can't produce, they cannot mass produce AK-47 guns. Fulani cannot produce nuclear bomb. They cannot produce nitrogen bomb. There is a new one, which is nitrogen bomb. Fulani can produce, but Yoruba started using nuclear energy in 1955 to generate electricity. The irresponsible English thought that, oh, if you leave us alone, we will be able to produce nuclear bomb. South Africa has nuclear bomb. India has nuclear bomb. Pakistan has nuclear bomb. What stopped Yoruba from having nuclear bomb when we have the human capital to do it? But it was the English who stopped us. So if you want us to use our brain power to develop Yoruba, you need to make a Yoruba citizen president of Nigeria from 2023. This horrible Yoruba Libra are shouting, no restructuring, no election. Restructuring is shit word. It is not what we desire. We desire devolution. You devolve power to the regions. So employment law will be devolved. So if you are working in Yoruba land, the requirement, the conditions that you are going to follow will be different from that of those in Igbo. Here in England, there are certain jobs that non-English can do. I have a cousin that works with the British Army. He wanted to work in their nuclear submarine section. They won't allow him because it's not English. That is part of their employment law. If he works here, he will be able to build submarine for Yoruba nation. So employment law will be devolved, but currently employment law is being controlled by the federal government. Every power goes to the federal government. That's why we kill ourselves to get the presidency. If we have had regional government since 1999, this stupid Libra will not be shouting today, no restructuring, no election. They follow Igbo way of life because a lot of this Libra, they are either sleeping with Igbo or married to Igbo or half Yoruba. It is the same nonsense that the Igbo were saying for 4 years, 2015 to 2019. No referendum, no election. But at the end of the day, they participated in the election. It is the same shit that the Yoruba Libra are doing. They're saying they want to protest on the street on the 1st of October. When I was in secondary school, my mother was protesting on the street with placard. She was calling people to go on strike action. Hausa Fulani continued to arrest her and dump her in police cell. When she won't stop, they promoted her. She was a junior staff. They made her a senior management staff so that she can stop protesting. So she stopped. But she continued to encourage the junior staff to continue to do it. They call her Margaret Thatcher because she was a very tough woman, but she's no longer tough. She's old now. So that will be devolved to the regions. Number 10, licensing of onshore oil and gas extraction will be devolved to the region. So the crude oil in Yoruba land will no longer be controlled by the federal government. The crude oil in Ijoland will no longer be controlled by the federal government. The gold in Yoruba land will no longer be controlled by the federal government. The mineral resources in Hausa Fulani land will no longer be controlled by the federal government. We will devolve the control of these mineral resources to the region. It is what is done in the United States of America. The federal government of America does not control the crude oil in America. It is only in Nigeria that horrible people are doing. It is the Igbo and Fulani that gave you this constitution. They don't have crude oil, Igbo and Fulani, but they want to control your own crude oil, Yoruba and Ijo. So they put it in the constitution that is the federal government that will have the license over offshore and offshore oil and gas extraction. Because they don't have, and they want to control you. So if the Libra that are shouting no restructuring, no election, if they have common sense, they will put their son as the president of Nigeria, Tinubu, and Tinubu will use that same power to return Nigeria back to regional government and put in a constitution that never again shall we go back to unity system. And he will ensure that no Igbo, no Hausa Fulani becomes president. It's the same thing in America. Have you ever seen any English as the president of America? But there's so many Germans. President Trump is a German. There are so many Irish. There are so many Dutch, there are so many Spanish, there are so many French that have been president of America. Not a single English since the end of the American Revolution, because the English lost the war. Because the English were suppressing them in America, and the other fought against them. So if we take the presidency in 2023, we will never allow Igbo or Hausa Fulani to be president. Otherwise, they will return it back to everything that we've done. They will return it back. If you want to secure the interests of the Yoruba nation, you devolve police and military. Straight. We will just go and sign military agreement with the United States, straight, our region. We'll sign military agreement that in future, it could be 100 years from now, that when none of us are alive, that if they try to overrun Yoruba land, America should come to our aid. So we protect the future of our children yet unborn. If you devolve police and military, Fulani can't do anything, they can't harass you anymore. Igbo cannot do Uzo, and telling us that they can kill us in our space. Igbo won't be able to do that. So it is important for us to take the presidency. Don't fall for the gimmick of the Yoruba liberals in the PDP. The Inca Odumake idiot, the Femi Fanika the stupid old man called Ayo Banjo that are hobnobbing with Igbo, talking shit. You know what they are saying now? They are circulating some news saying that Boko Haram will overrun Yoruba. They said that during the Jonathan presidency. They said that during the 2019 presidency, saying that the Fulani have taken over all our forests. Fulani are going to attack or they are prepared. The only thing they do is propaganda, the Yoruba Libra, because they have been propped up by the Igbo. That's why they do propaganda all their life. So Fulani are going to overrun us. Give the presidency to your son, Tinubu. Let us form super special relationship with America. And it's not going to be free. We give them part of our wealth. Boom! We secure the future for our next generation, our children yet unborn. Economic development will be devolved. What is economic development that we're talking about? We're talking about the quality of life of a region, local community, or an individual. The best way you can improve the quality of life of Yoruba citizen is to devolve economic development. Let the region think for their own people. Devolve economic development to each region. Igbo, you said you have the human capital. You can turn your homeland to China. Go and do it under your own region. Hausa Fulani, do it if you have the skill. So we need to devolve economic development. So we need to improve the quality of life of our people. Today I was talking to my friend. His parent has 5 children. 4 of them are living abroad. Only 1 is remaining in Nigeria. It is the same thing that is happening in my own family. We're 9 siblings. Half of us are living abroad. That is how it is in most families across Yoruba land. Look at the implication of that stupidity in the next 50 years. A family of 5 children, 4 of the children are living abroad. I live in England. I know how the horrible police have always treated me. They harass me, intimidate me, and they just charge me to court anytime. It is because I'm not English. And that is the same thing I want the Yoruba to do to English national in our own space too. We are suffering abroad. Now, when we, the children, are leaving Yoruba land, who do you think are taking over our space? Hausa Fulani and the Igbo. So if this trend should continue, if you have common sense, 9 family, half of them are living abroad, 5 family, 4 of them are living abroad. Now, if this trend continues for the next 50 years abroad, my children here, they don't have the same right as English. So my children will not be happy in future. If they want to work in a job, They will see that English will have preference over them, and they will be saying to me, Dad, let us go back to our country. But our country has been taken over by Hausa, Fulani, and Igbo. So my children's generation will be the greatest loser. They will not be able to compete for space abroad, and at home, foreigners have already taken over Yoruba land. So if we are smart people, we need to put Tinubu as the president of Nigeria and halt this horrible situation of the Yoruba people. How can you have 9 children? Half of them are living abroad. You have 5, 4 of them are living abroad. Do that continuously for the next 50 years. There will not be Yoruba nation anymore. Look at your family, those of you who are Yoruba abroad. Look at your family too. How many are you? How many of you are living in Yoruba land? But if you can picture, you can envision the impact of this on Yoruba land, you will know that if we continue with this trend, in less than 50 years, Igbo will overrun our space. My friend that was talking to me today said to me that Igbo people were living in his father's house for 10 years in Lagos without paying bills because all the children are abroad. Nobody cares about the houses of their father. Igbo were living there and Igbo would take it over. A place they've been living for 10 years without payment, they would just take it over and say that the house belongs to them. Look at that. If the Yoruba liberals have common sense. So folks, I hope you show this video to all these horrible Yoruba who call themselves Yoruba TV radio, Heritage TV, shit idiot people who are antagonizing Tinubu all their life. Horrible people that you are. We are leaving our space. We're leaving our space. How many of you are doing good job in England? No, tell me, how many of you Yoruba, with your PhD, you do care work? With your PhD, you do car park attendant? How many of you, rather than for you to think about the collective good of the Yoruba nation, it is Tinubu that want to be president that you are attacking. You attack Awolowo, you attack Abiola, you attack Falai. It is Tinubu now, but you are not going to do this for free. Thank God that Tinubu believes in organized violence. He has practicalized it when he was young, and he still does. He believes that. So you're going to pay for your action. Stupid people. Everybody is just going. You think abroad is good. You think I'm enjoying abroad. I'm so brilliant, and every one of you says so. Yeah. Why should I be living in England with the state of mind that I have? If I'm using this brain in Yoruba land, you know the contribution I will have made to the greatness of Yoruba land. Many Yoruba brilliant minds are wasted away. You live in France, you live in Germany, you live in England, you live in America. Idiot. Yoruba land is wasted. So this is what we say. Number 12. What we devolve to the region is social security, child support, and pension. Look, pension is very important if you have elderly parents. This Yoruba parent, they have worked all their life, they can't get their pension. Hausa Fulani don't have the qualification to go to school. They are getting money because they control the presidency. Our home parents, when they were working, were paying pension. Now in their old age, they don't have health care. They cannot even see their pension. So if we devolve pension, social security, and child support to the regions, we devolve this to the regions, it will be for the betterment of the Yoruba people. So Igbo, anybody that is working in Igbo land, take their pension from them. When they are old, you pay them their pension. Hausa Fulani, collect the pension on people that are working in Hausa Fulani land. When they are old, you pay them their pension. We do the same thing in Yoruba land, but what do we have now? It is the federal government that is controlling this pension. So our parents can't get their money. Is anybody giving child support to any child in Yoruba land? I have said in one of my videos, the children cannot fend for themselves. A good society must provide for children. So we don't do anything for children in Yoruba land. That's why children cannot hit 3 square meals. We don't provide anything, even for mothers. Mothers that are going to give back to the next generation. A lot of them are raped. A lot of them are abused spiritually, financially, and sexually. We do nothing to protect them, and you expect them to be happy, to bring forth the next generation. So if we devolve social security, child support, and pension, we will be able, as Yoruba people, we will look for money to protect our children. So federal government will not be controlling our money. So Igbo will take care of their own children. Hausa Fulani will take care of their own children. There's nothing like one Nigeria. Do they say one UK? No, everybody does their own separately. The 50 countries, states in America, they do their own thing separately. So number 13 that will be devolved is road signs and speed limits. We can't allow federal government to continue to control speed limits. The same speed limit you have in Igbo land is the same thing you have in Yoruba land, it's the same thing you have in Hausa Fulani land. We have different priority. This power should be devolved. Road sign and speed limit should be devolved to the regions. Federal government cannot control these things. So if speed limit is 60 miles per hour in Igbo land, we could increase it to 70 miles per hour in Yoruba land. So if you are driving from Igbo land, you see, when you get into Yoruba land, you see our sign that it is 60 miles per hour. You can increase your speed. And if you are driving from Yoruba land to Igbo land, by the time you are entering Igbo land, you see the sign. You make the necessary adjustment. But we can't have a uniform speed limit. We have different priorities. These are important things. All these liberals that are abusing Tinubu, they don't have a clue of what I'm saying. You know, they watch a lot of my video. They take my articles. They want to turn it as if it is their product. They don't even respect my intellectual property. They steal a lot of our ideas, and they are abusing the man that we support. Yet they cannot think like us. They cannot reason like us. Horrible people all over the place. So number 14 power that we're going to devolve. We're going to devolve agriculture, forestry, and fisheries. We have waterways in Yoruba land. It should not be under the control of the federal government. It should be under the control of the Yoruba regional government so we can control our fishes. People are coming all the way from all over the world to overfish in our waterways in Yoruba land. We can't control it. The federal government is useless. Give us the power over agriculture so that we can bring back farm settlement. Give us the power over our forestry so that we can monitor our forestry, like the propaganda that the Yoruba liberal were saying, that Hausa Fulani now control our forestry. Because we run unitary system, we Yoruba, we don't have the power to control our forestry. If we devolve this power to the regions, all of this forestry will be under the control of Yoruba people, but they are being controlled by the federal government. So we're going to devolve the power of agriculture, forestry, and fishing. But it is being controlled. These things are being controlled by the federal government. Number 15, we will devolve civil service. I don't need to talk much about that. You know what that's to. Number 16, environment and planning. We're going to devolve this. Look, let me say something to the Igbo when you say, you know, I don't like you. I do not pretend because you kill my brother. You've killed a lot of Yoruba people. You do crime in Yoruba land. You don't vote for our political interests. You've killed so many Yoruba leaders. We don't like you. If we devolve environment and planning, like Ladipo Market and Computer Village, under planning, the regional government will have the power. We can turn those people into those places into housing estate. We will move you away. We can even build railway. There's something I just did recently that we can turn those places. We can deliberately make a railway to pass through those places, and we are going to destroy and demolish some of your criminal market that you have set up. So environment and planning will come under devolved power. So the Yoruba nation, we can plan Yoruba land. Didn't you notice during the lockdown in Lagos, did you see how beautiful that place is? Our roads are actually beautiful in Lagos. But the moment the lockdown was over, Igbo people came back with their roadside trading. It is because people are trading on our road. That's why our places looks horrible. Nobody is trading on the streets in UK. Nobody is doing that in America. But Igbo trooping into our space and they will be selling their wares on our street. They will be doing street trading. I saw a lot of beautiful pictures of Lagos that were taken during the lockdown. People selling wares on our street will end if we devolve environment and planning to the regional governments. Equal opportunities. Now, some people might see these equal opportunities as something that gives everybody that comes to Yoruba land equal opportunity as Yoruba people. Is no, that's not it. Under the Equal Opportunity Act, it will be explicitly stated that when it comes to job, housing, social benefit, healthcare, whatever, the priority must be given to Yoruba people in Yoruba land. I know of a Yoruba woman. I don't know whether she is still alive now. She was on the waiting list for kidney transplant in this country for well over 5 years. She was the one that was telling me that there are other people that have been on kidney transplant waiting list who were English. They were treated before her. She said that. And I said to her, this is England. You are a Yoruba woman. If our parent had fought against this unitary system, you and I would not be in England. She was condemning the white people, saying that they were racist because she's been on the waiting list for kidney transplant for years. And I said, no, they are not racist. They practice self-preservation. If we have fought against regional government suspension, believe it, you and I, many of us that are living abroad, we will be in Yoruba land. So there will be equal opportunities in the sense that priority will be given to Yoruba citizens in Yoruba land on all things. So Igbo should give priority to Igbo people in Igbo land. Hausa Fulani should also give priority when it comes to job, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to housing, when it comes to social benefit. Give that priority to your people. We want to give priority to Yoruba citizens first and foremost. That's why we say that equal opportunity will be devolved to the regional government. Tax on carriage of passenger by air will be devolved to the regional government. It's ridiculous, guys. That airport, Lagos International Airport, they call it Muritala Mohammed, generate $140 million every year from carriage on passenger air. But they take all of this to Abuja. Hausa Fulani have their own airport, Aminu Kano, generating $9 million every year. Igbo has their own airport, Akamo Ibram International Airport, generating $7 million every year. $1 million to Abuja and give it to Igbo and Hausa Fulani. So we will devolve tax on carriage of passengers by air. It will be devolved to the regional government. So the $140 million we made from Lagos International Airport will be used by us only. So the Igbo should do with their $7 million they have made from their own airport. Hausa Fulani should do with their $9 million they have made from their own airport. That is justice. But these two people don't want that. They want the continuation of this unitary system. This is the brain that the Yoruba liberal lack. They sit in front of their Facebook and talk shit. We want Oduduwa Republic. How? We're going to protest, idiots. When I was in secondary school, my mother's generation were protesting and they were killing them, putting them in prison. It is the same style that I should adopt in 2020, idiots. We want Oduduwa Republic. Tinubu is corrupt. Somebody who has never been president. So Obasanjo is not corrupt. Olaguso Enilola is not corrupt. All of the horrible PDP governors, they were not corrupt. Tinubu is your problem, useless people. A lot of you liberal, babe. Mujiman Sokini Kimberu. I was saying something that but about Bere Wala, Niluye, and Libra, and Masawobe, Igbele Mabesi. They have no clue. Take Tinubu away from their campaign. They have nothing to offer. Oh, Tinubu Oleni, Omo Etiji Yaloja. Look at what I'm facing in England. That the stupid police continue to arrest me 8 times of my life. 8 consecutive times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times. They are trying to destroy me from false allegation of a stupid woman. The population of UK is more than 66 million. One person has been making allegation upon allegation against me. The stupid police continue to arrest me. So what I'm doing now, peradventure, we get the presidency in 2023 and you see me in power. So you think I will not take care of my children? Say Tinubu, Omo Etiji Yaloja, Omo Iyalaja eni ba fi wa je Yaloja ngba te fe pa tipe and to save le Yoruba. With what I'm doing, I won't take care of my children, right? I won't take care of the people that are supporting me now. You think I'm the only one that is doing YY? Many people are paying for my legal fee. So in future, I weather the storm and God blesses us, we get our desire. So I will ignore those people. So because Tinubu is putting trusted friends and allies in position of authority, stupid Libra, they are attacking him. Yala in your bag, basically, about Banla, Baba, Lushi, Lori and te antagonize. I will lower te antagonize. Abiola te di Bufunfala, I am a Bajeni, Lushi, Lomo Tinubu Yaloja. Oh, my God, don't forget our mom rinsing. You got our mom go through sing. Oh, le gbàdúrà káwọn ọmọ go through it. Stupid people. That's the only thing they talk about. Tinubu. Folks, ask them a question when they are alive doing their horrible program. How do you intend to get Oduduwa Republic? Tell us. We have told them you have 3 means to get it. We form a super special relationship with America. They are very powerful. If we don't have American support, we can't get to the Oduduwa Republic. What is UN? Who controls UN? If we don't have American support, you will never see Oduduwa Republic. Then we play politics and put your own son there. Put Tinubu there. Then you can do your shit protest. Tinubu will give you what you want. And if we cannot get American support, we cannot get Tinubu presidency, we should be willing to go to war. You need to fight because you are being subjugated. It is like you are being enslaved by Fulani minority supported by the Igbo. You go to war. You fight. You say you want to protest to get to the Oduduwa Republic. Stupid people. Get weapons. Our weapon of choice is chemical. Stupid people. So the number 19 power that will be devolved is transport. Air transport, road transport, water transport, devolved to the region. Federal government should stop controlling the airport. They should stop controlling seaport. We devolve the power to the region. Federal government will be paid the appropriate tax that we agree that each region will pay. We cannot allow federal government to be controlling our entire life. How can the federal government be controlling our airport in Yoruba? How can they be controlling our seaport, controlling our waterways, controlling our roads? No, Yoruba is big enough to be a nation. The federal government must give power. It must devolve this power to the region. Number 20 is abortion. The power to end life must be given to the regional government. Because we have different priorities. In Igbo land, they kill anyhow. So even if they want to terminate 8-month-old pregnancy, it is their cup of tea. But in Yoruba land, we have sanctity for human life. That's why it takes us to go to war. It takes us time before we go to war. So we ought to control abortion. Federal government cannot control abortion. So if you have an Igbo president of Nigeria, which will never come to pass anyway, and you allow federal government to be controlling abortion, because Igbo, they kill people anyhow, you can sign a law that you can terminate a 9-month-old pregnancy, and it will be applicable all across Yoruba land. That was why some stupid Igbo women were protesting, saying that they were prostitutes. We don't recognize prostitution as a legal entity in Yoruba land. It is the Igbo who are doing that horrible thing. So prostitutes came out in Lagos State saying that they want their right to be protected, and they were all Igbo in our own space because we practice unitary system. Look at what the Igbo are doing with baby factory. They will kidnap young girls, forcefully had carnal knowledge of them, get them pregnant in the process. 9 months after they yank off the children from them and go and sell it, are people that have no knowledge of adoption, are people in 2020 that have no knowledge of surrogacy, but they just kidnap young girls, impregnate them. This is not the kind of people you are in a nation with. You associate with this kind of animals. So the power of abortion will be devolved to the region. So if a pregnancy is older than 2 months, Yoruba can say you cannot abort that pregnancy. But the Igbo can say to you that if a pregnancy is even 9 months old, you can abort it. It is their law. But that would not be applicable in Yoruba land if we devolve the power of abortion to the regions. And it is because we want to save life. That is why we have to devolve that power to the region. You see, number 21 power that will be devolved to the region is the assembly and local government election. All elections in Yoruba land will be conducted by Yoruba people. Folks, when we start talking about this, whoa. Whoa. I hope I know where this is coming from. 1999. 98. I hope I know where it is. Sorry guys, just one section of my book just fell off. Yeah. I was talking about assembly and local government election. Look, by the time I started our campaign on this Constitution of Western Nigeria, that's Yoruba Constitution, you will see that we have our own electoral commission. All elections in Yoruba land were conducted by Yoruba people only, not by federal government. Regional government was a beautiful thing. Now we're saying that we have to devolve the power of assembly and local election back to the regions, because that was how it was. Number 22, power. We're going to finish the devolved power very soon. Number 22, we're going to 26. Number 22 power that must be devolved is tourism, sport, culture, and heritage. These things are very important. Our heritage as Yoruba people, our culture, and sport and tourism. When we say devolve tourism, sport, culture, and heritage, we're saying that there will not be Nigerian Football Association anymore, because we have devolved sport to the region. There will be Yoruba football team, Yoruba football club. That's what we'll be having. That's what we'll be having if we devolve tourism, sport, culture, and heritage. We'll be in charge of our own tourism in Yoruba land. Imagine the people in Brazil, they are partly Yoruba, but they will send an Hausa Fulani as the ambassador of Nigeria to Brazil. They don't have any relationship with them. Hausa Fulani can be ambassador to Niger Republic or to Chad, not to Brazil, not to Benin Republic, not to Togo, not to Puerto Rico, not to Cuba. These are extension of Yoruba people. It is only Yoruba who should be ambassadors to these countries. But because we run stupid unitary system, they send Igbo there, they send Hausa there, people that they have no connection with. Igbo people don't have any homeland other than in Nigeria. But we Yoruba, we have our people spread across all the countries. We need to protect the Yoruba heritage. We need to tell our own history. Our people need to speak our language. Our children. For so many years, you condemn the Isheshe people, you condemn the Orisha people. Until now, that WWF and another group of young men and women have stood their ground and say that no, you cannot condemn our Orisha. And I was watching one pastor, I've forgotten the name of the pastor. I know you guys, I can't really think I can easily read your comment, but I don't want to read your comment. I want to focus on what I'm doing. I forgot what I want to say, but I've spoken about tourism, sport, culture, and heritage. That will be the power that will be devolved to the regions. Another power that will be devolved is the longer haulage rates of air passenger duty. We pay this air passenger duty collected from all our airports, which is different from tax on carriage of passenger by air. It's different. There's another tax. Another tax is long haul rates of air passenger duty. We have to devolve that power to the regions. I keep saying to people, look at Ikeja environment. Over 25,000 commercial planes fly through that Ikeja every year, 25,000. And this aircraft releasing CO2 emission, affecting the health of the people living in Ikeja. These people have no health care. Yet all the taxes collected from that airport zoom to Abuja. It is people in Sokoto, it is people in Kano, Katsina, people in Enugu, people in Imo that are not suffering, have no experience of the negative impact of the CO2 that are the people sharing that money. The Yoruba that are living in Ikeja and its environs, who are suffering from the emission of CO2, dying every day, thinking it is one Iyarugo that is killing them, thinking it is one spiritual attack. They have no money to take care of themselves. But all the taxes collected from our airport in Yoruba and Zoom go to Abuja, and people who have no health impact are the ones spending this money. Nigeria is a shit place. It's a horrible place. And it is because we allow horrible people, minority Fulani, and criminally minded Igbo to be ruling us, to come into our space unregulated. And we are saying to the Yoruba Libra, stop your stupidity. It is Tinubu that is their problem. Is it the Tinubu that is collecting the taxes paid from our airport? Is it the Tinubu that is collecting it? Is it Tinubu that is responsible for the CO2 emission that is killing Yoruba people in Ikeja because they live near the airport? You see, Dangote will be building his refinery. And I look at a lot of people. I said, if I want to spoil your business, you say, come and buy property, come and buy where they are building oil refinery. You see, the carbon monoxide that will be coming out from that area will kill a lot of people when you continue to inhale it. So prices of houses should be very cheap in that area. So how much is this house? You're telling people with 30 million, 50 million. Are you crazy? Where they are doing oil refinery. Yoruba land is an illiterate society. I want to low in England. Ṣé ibi tó ti ń ṣe refinery náà kọ́lé sí? Ṣádùúgbò tó ti ń ṣe refinery. Àwọn tó lówó lá Amẹ́ríkà. Ṣé ibi tó ti ń ṣe refinery náà ń gbé? Ilé lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ refinery ẹ̀ ń tà ní 50 million, ẹ̀ ń tà ní 30 million. Alẹ́ ti ṣí èrè ń lu yẹn. They are going to be collecting so much taxes from that oil refinery of Dangote oil refinery. The people that will be living around that place will have health problem. If we don't take the presidency by 2023, they will be dying like chicken. And you will be saying, you'll be going to one church and your pastor will be saying, oh, it is these people that is after you, it is that people that is after you. Yoruba land is an illiterate society. So folks, don't go and buy property where they are building refinery. The health impact on yourself and your family in future. You won't believe it. So I said to those people who are selling their property, say, if I speak on that property market that you are selling for 30 million, 50 million, it will come down. We will crash it because it doesn't make sense to go and use your money to kill yourself. So another number 24 power that will be devolved is fire and rescue services. You know the federal government controls fire service. Federal government. So we devolve that power to the regional government to handle. Number 25 is water and flood defense. The power to control waterways and everything be devolved to the regional government. Federal government cannot control that. And lastly, regional parliamentary elections. Elections in the regions will no longer be conducted by INEC. It is federal government that is conducting election in Yoruba. They want to do governorship election. They want to do state assembly election. The federal government will be controlling. Even local government election, INEC is also having an impact in it. It doesn't make sense. You don't run a country like that. That is slavery. You are different people. So I'm taking too much of your time now, folks. Now let's quickly go to the power of the central government. That's what we're saying to you now. Don't say restructuring anymore. Devolution is the new word. This is what you have to embrace. So when we speak to people in England, that they, okay, for instance, if I go to court for my trial, it's part of what I'm going to explain. Here in UK, the English ask for devolution too. That's why they have mayor. Before, it is only London that has mayor. Now, Manchester has mayor, Leeds has mayor, other English constituencies, they have mayor. That is the devolution. So when you're telling a judge in court that we've been demanding for devolution of power since 1967, they can get the concept very well. It's actually not restructuring. We use bogus words that does not that are not in tandem with reality. What we are asking for is devolution of power to the region. These are the powers that I've listed, 26 powers that are currently being controlled by the federal government. Give it to the regional government to manage. You will see how everything will be peaceful. Let's look at the reserved power. The reserved power will now be the power of the federal government. Number one is the Constitution. The Constitution of Nigeria will be the prerogative of the federal government. Now, nuclear energy. Remember, I used the word energy the other time to generate our own electricity. We can use nuclear power to generate electricity. They use it abroad. But here, and I repeat that nuclear energy will come under reserve power of the federal government. I'm talking about nuclear bomb, nitrogen bomb, atomic bomb. It will not be devolved to the region. Otherwise, the region can produce nuclear bomb and fucking mess up anybody. So that power will be with the federal government. Employment law. You know, under the regional devolved power, employment law will also be under the region. Employment law will also be under the federal government for those who will go to the federal civil service. That will take care of them. Foreign affairs will be the power of the federal government. Prohibited weapons will be the power of the federal government. For instance, because we are going to devolve the military and the police to the regions, there are some weapons that the police and the military might not be able to use. Perhaps artificial intelligence might come under that. That power could be reserved for the central government. You understand? There will be certain prohibited weapons that only the federal government will use, like nuclear bomb, like nitrogen bomb, and atomic bomb. This will be under the federal government. Cross-border rail. I said cross-border rail. That will be reserved power for the federal government. You know, the Yoruba are in Benin Republic and we are in Togo. So we want to maintain the relationship with the Yoruba in Western Nigeria, with the Yoruba in Benin Republic and Togo. So we will want to build railway to connect us, so that because we are families, so that Yoruba can move down from Togo to Western Nigeria, Yoruba in Benin Republic can move down from their country to Western Nigeria. Unfortunately, because of the international border, the power for cross-border rail will be that of the federal government. So if we want to have relationship with our Yoruba people in Benin Republic and Togo through building roads and railway, the federal government will have to approve it. Likewise, the Hausa Fulani, they have part of Niger Republic, and 54% of the population of Niger Republic is actually Hausa Fulani. So these are their blood brothers. So if they want to build cross-border railway lines or road, they will have to sought the permission of the federal government, because federal government will be in charge. The power of cross-border rail will be reserved for the federal government. Federal government has actually 20 of this power. It used to be 68. We reduce it. National security will be the responsibility of the federal government. Say national security, defense, not regional security. If we want to go to war with Cameroon, Benin Republic, or any country, it will be the responsibility of the federal government to protect the country. But federal government cannot use the military for internal war. No, cannot. So another thing is nationality, immigration, and asylum. Federal government will be responsible for nationality, those who will be nationalized. Federal government will continue to control the immigration and asylum. People are applying for asylum. And then I wrote here number 10. Genetics. Genetics, like, this guy was lying, saying that Buhari has been cloned. No human being has been cloned to date. Now they kind of fool everybody, including himself, saying that Buhari has been cloned. It's an idiot, anyway, by the way. So genetics will come under the power of the federal government. So we're talking about cloning somebody, and the rest of the scientists know what we're talking about. So that power will be reserved for the federal government. Financial services and pension regulation will be reserved for the federal government. They are not going to manage financial services and pension. They will regulate it. This is the regulation. Equal opportunities, those are the people that will be working under the federal civil service. So everybody will be able to work in federal civil service, whether you are Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa Fulani, or Kanuri. We will all have equal opportunity to work in the federal civil service, but will be on merit, not on a ridiculous quota system. Number 13 will be internal trade and financial markets. Now, international trade rather. So if, for instance, the Yoruba would like to trade with England, I just made mention of England because they are shit. They are the allies to Fulani. They would rather trade with Brazil, Portugal, and other EU countries. So if you want to trade with them, international trade will need the involvement of the federal government to approve some of the things that will be done, because international trade will be reserved power for the federal government. International development will also be reserved power for the federal government, like Mr. Buhari just went to Mali for international development because some Fulani are fighting other ethnic groups in Mali. So he went there. It's part of international development. That responsibility will be for the federal government. Federal civil service will be for the federal government. Number 16 is postal services. The federal government will coordinate postal services, or people sending letter from Yoruba region to Igbo region, from Igbo region to Kanuri region. Federal government will coordinate postal service. Justice and police, under the devolved power to the region, justice and police is also there. Under the reserve power, justice and police is also there, because there will be federal police. There will be regional police, regional regimental armed forces. There will be federal police, and we will have Supreme Court. That is why I said justice and policing. So federal government will also have power over justice and policing, because there will be federal police like FBI in America. The federal police, and I told you, for instance, you have an armed robber who is an Igbo. He operated from Yoruba land, perhaps killed some people, and he then escaped to Igbo land. Yoruba police cannot go and effect that arrest. They will have to work with the federal government police. Federal government police will liaise with the police in Igbo land, and this man will be tracked and perhaps and possibly arrested. If he's arrested, he might be charged to court by the federal police, or the federal police might decide to give him up to the Yoruba regional police. That's the essence of why the federal government will still have some element of power of justice and policing, and then they will control the constitutional court. Number 18, reserve power of the federal government will be for election to the National Assembly and the presidency. That is the only election that the federal government will control. Election to elect the president, or we might decide to call him prime minister, and the election to elect member of the National Assembly. The federal government will no longer conduct election to elect regional minister, regional premier, or governor, or local government. That will no longer be under the power of the federal government. And then number 19 is intellectual property will be under the reserve power of the federal government. And number 20 is national minimum wage. The federal government will set the national minimum wage, that this is the wage that any region can go down below. You can't go below this, so it could be 30,000 per month that the federal government will set as the national minimum wage. So every other region will either pay that 30,000 or above. You cannot go below it. That power will be reserved for the federal government. So folks, that is the essence of what we're trying to introduce to you. You have accepted liberalism, conservatism. You've accepted self-preservation, thinking Yoruba first. You accepted a lot of notions, ideas, and ideals that the Young Yoruba for Freedom has introduced. They're so numerous, I can't even remember all of them. What we're saying to you today is that restructuring is not appropriate for the desire of the Yoruba nation. It is our desire for a return to regional government. Igbo don't want it. Hausa Fulani are against it. But the Yoruba people want it. The people you call Boko Haram that you continue to condemn today, that is their desire. They want to control the Kanuri region. They are not bad people. They have just taken to organized violence because they can have their desire. The Ijaw nation want a return to regional government. The people of the Middle Belt are fed up of Hausa Fulani killing them. You will see Yoruba liberals shouting about Southern Kaduna, saying that Kanuri people are killing them. What the people of Southern Kaduna desire is a return to regional government so that they can be on their own, control their own police, their region will control their own military to safeguard themselves against this Fulani killing them. So it is only Hausa Fulani and the Igbo who are against devolution of power to the regions, because these two regions inside Nigeria had the greatest beneficiary of the fraudulent unity system that we are using. They are the proponents of one Nigeria. It is the Fulani people that came up with the concept of Northerners. It is the Igbo people that came up with the concept of Southerners. These two people are the people that are destroying Nigeria. If these people cannot be in the presidency of Nigeria, to control the presidency of Nigeria, Nigeria will be stable. Nigeria will be great. It will be better. It is Igbo and Hausa Fulani that are destroying Nigeria. And as long as we take the presidency away from them through the help of the United States of America, there will be security of lives and properties in Nigeria. So stop blaming Boko Haram. You lack the in-depth knowledge to understand people. People don't take to violence. It is always the last resort. I don't like the police in this country, and I've been saying it. And I do not wish to live in England because of the actions of the police. I say it every now and then. I don't like them. So when they come to harass me, I'm determined to fight them. People are not pushed to the wall ordinarily. When you push people to the wall, they fight back. They fight back. That is what Boko Haram are doing. That's why I come out most of the time. I speak against the police in England. That's why I openly advocated that English national and Yoruba land should be assaulted, because police assaulted me and almost killed me in 2015. They even threatened me with deportation. We will not be saying that let us adopt organized violence. For instance, if the Igbo and Hausa Fulani respect our diversity in Nigeria, they don't respect it. The Igbo are not Yoruba, the Yoruba are not Hausa Fulani are not Kanuri. We must respect our diversity. Stop frustrating people to resort to violence. Igbo should be proud of their Igbo region. Hausa Fulani should be proud of their Hausa Fulani region. The same way the Yoruba people are proud of their Yoruba space. The Ijaw people are proud of their Ijaw space. The Kanuri people are proud of their homeland. That's why their youths have taken into organized violence called Boko Haram to kill people because they want justice. They want to control their space. I'm telling you, it will be a rude shock to you if Tinubu assumed the presidency of Nigeria today. He will negotiate with the leadership of Boko Haram. And these Boko Haram people that you are condemning, they will form the security unit of Kanuri region. They will be in charge of policing and in charge of the National Guard of Kanuri land. They will be able to control the wealth in Kanuri land. That is what these people are clamoring for. It is the Libra that are twisting it. These people want to control their space. It is so important. You can't take people's space from them. That is why in the beginning when I started this video, I said that regionalism has come back to prominence in Nigeria because of political, economic, cultural, societal control of people's space. These spaces are changing. People don't take to violence. Psychologists and other professionals, they appreciate all of these things in this country. If you look at my videos, I started making YouTube video in 2011. This is part of my presentation to court. 2011, I started making YouTube videos. I will canvass and appeal to people about the need for regional government, that if we don't go to regional government, there will be war and crisis. Boko Haram started roughly around 2012 or thereabout. Because these people are demanding for justice. Now, we adopt organized violence about 2012. We realized that, look, you can't change this thing without some element of violence. Because the Fulani and the Igbo, they just don't want this system to end. They don't want the unity system to end. So if you continue to preach non-violence, you will continue to do the same thing that Awolowo started in 1967. Now, when we embrace organized violence, people started shaking. People started shaking. People started shaking. Some people started giving us all manners of names. Go back to regional government. Devolve political power to the regions. Look at how I went into serious fight with the police in this country. First time they arrested me, everything was normal. I won them. I'm a victim. This allegation from my ex-wife was false. I endured the false arrest. I endured the second arrest. They came and arrested me, putting me in handcuffs every time. I said I'm a victim, that these allegations are false. Then the third time, I fought with them. Serious fighting. They slapped me And I defended myself honorably. Because they've done it first time, second time. Look at it now, they've done it 8th time to me. And I can come out publicly and denounce them and call them out and say to them that that is the same thing that we're going to do to English National in Yoruba land. That we will assault English National and put them in prison in our space. When you frustrate people, you don't expect them to keep their mouth shut. The English establishment are irresponsible. They are the people that are funding the subjugation of Yoruba nation by making sure that Hausa Fulani control the presidency and give Hausa Fulani military weapons to suppress and subjugate the Yoruba nation. So if you want to confront them, you take away their business interests from Yoruba land. You nationalize their businesses. You call for the expulsion of their citizens from your space. You openly antagonize them. They will stop. Yoruba, we are an illiterate society. That is why we don't know how to fight. If we're so smart, like the American society and the English society, today we will have shut down Guinness Nigerian PLC in Lagos, their factory in Lagos. It belongs to English, yet the English establishment are propping up Fulani to suppress the Yoruba. If we are not an illiterate society, we will have shut down Standard Chartered Bank. It belongs to the English. If we're not an illiterate society, we will have shut down PricewaterhouseCoopers. It belongs to the English. And so many other businesses of the English in Yoruba land. You understand? But we're so foolish people. How can you live abroad? You get treated very badly. But the people that you live in their country, their own citizens are also living in your country. And they get treated very well, better than you. It makes us stupid people. This is what Libra don't get. They are not smart. We speak nothing but the truth. Why should Yoruba who lives in England be threatened with deportation? Yet we allow English national to live larger than life in Yoruba land. Why should Yoruba graduate be washing toilet in England? And we allow English national with no university education to work in our oil and gas, to work in our banks, to work in our financial capital, to be the concessionary managing our port, to control our waterways, to fish on our waterways. We allow English businesses. You should. I said to people, I've been threatened several times with deportation. Police have threatened me before. Even Igbo have threatened me before with deportation. Now, I continue to think about the statement of the Igbo. Half of their population lives in Yoruba land. Yet you said to me that the English should deport me from England. We are asking you to leave Yoruba land. We are asking the Igbo, leave. We Yoruba would like to come back home. If we continue to run abroad, in 50 years' time, our children abroad will be miserable and there will not be a space for us to come back to anymore because Yoruba land will have been taken over by foreigners. You have power, but your lack of exposure, your lack of education, you think you are so smart. You're not. Your lack of education is the reason why you are poor and miserable. It's the reason why you have PhD and work as a carer in England when you could be the managing director, managing the ports in Lagos, when you could be working in our port, in our airport, controlling our seaport, be in charge of our prison, be in charge of our police and military, be in charge of our tax revenue, be working in our public services in Yoruba land that you will earn enough to take care of you and your family. But you are so conditioned your mind that you cannot live better than for you to be abroad. No, you don't know the enormous power in your brain. You go to school, you don't use your education. Yoruba land is not going to be great. So this is a major problem everywhere in the world. Personal relationship is different from national interest. If somebody hurt you, like the stupid woman who wants to destroy my life, I have two options. Because it's a personal relationship with her in the past, I can choose to forgive her. And I can choose not to. But when it comes to national interest, you don't forgive. If your friend offended you, if your work colleagues offended you, you have the right to forgive. But if your nation, your Yoruba nation interest is threatened, you don't forgive. If a Yoruba leader is killed by the Igbo, you don't forgive the Igbo. You kill their own leader back. If a Yoruba leader is imprisoned by Hausa Fulani, you don't forgive the Hausa Fulani nation. You imprison their own leader back. Nations do not forgive. If you do, you will never be great. That is why anybody that attacks or antagonizes American interests, America will never forgive such a person. They will make sure that nation pay for the consequences of their action. This is something you don't get, Yoruba people. Fulani will kill your leaders, you do nothing. Igbo will kill your leader, you do nothing. You don't forgive as a nation, as a collective group of people. You revenge. That is how you are going to be respected. Don't fall for the stupidity of saying that a nation should preach non-violence. A nation does not preach non-violence. Yoruba is being suppressed and subjugated. Our police is being controlled by Fulani and the Igbo. The military in Yoruba land is being controlled by the Fulani and the Igbo. Our port is being controlled by the Fulani and the Igbo. Everything in Yoruba land is being controlled by the Fulani and the Igbo. Yoruba is a nation. Our national interest is at stake. We cannot forgive these people. We fight them. If we say, leave our space, stop controlling our police, stop controlling our military, stop controlling our custom, stop controlling our immigration, stop controlling our waterways, because these are our national treasure, these are our national heritage, these are our national interest. But these guys will not stop. You fight them. For instance, Tinubu can choose to forgive Buhari because he put Buhari there in his first term and Buhari just discarded him completely in his first term. Tinubu is an individual. Buhari hasn't done anything against the Yoruba nation. He has done something bad against Tinubu. Tinubu as a person has that power to say, I forgive and forget. But Fulani Buhari, we voted for him. He came to Yoruba land, sent them private jet, saying that he's looking for militants that are stealing crude oil in Lagos. He started blowing up our space. We can forgive him for that. No, because the attack is on our nation. Our children are leaving Yoruba land abroad because all the federal government jobs in Yoruba land have been taken over by Fulani and the Igbo. We can't forgive these people as a nation. This is not an individual thing. It's a national interest. We fight them. Igbo people are doing crime in Yoruba land every time, raping our women, killing our people, selling fake drugs to us, destroying our life. We can't forgive them because these things have not been done to an individual. It has been done to a collective group of people, a nation. We fight. Yoruba is an illiterate society. So folks, learn to separate personal relationship from national interest. Learn to do that. If we do this, believe you me, our generation will make Yoruba land great. Our focus should be how to get Oduduwa Republic. It is the ultimate goal. We continue to lobby the United States government and the good people of the United States. We must form a super special relationship with them. We play politics by electing Tinubu as the president. Boom. We then start. Are we being flagged? So, I don't know whether we've been flagged or not. I'm not very sure. So, guys, you get the idea. It's not launching. We want to press it on the Yoruba youth. Stop using the word restructuring. We use the word devolution. We're going to release our white paper. I call it a white paper because I believe the government will look into it. It might take some time for it to come live because the police have. I'm doing it all over again, and I've said here that we're going to write about what is devolution, why do we have devolution across Nigeria, how devolution works, devolve and reserve powers, and several other things that we're going to be doing. So folks, I'm very grateful that you come around to join me tonight. Don't worry, we are still going to do our campaign 20 days or thereabouts on the Constitution of Western Nigeria. You guys should read that Constitution. And to those of you who said you want to donate, yeah, we need your money. We need your donation because I have a court case to deal with. And it's not cheap. But God willing, we're going to win. Thank you. God bless you all.
Share.